All right, we're going to talk about the kukri. I'm going to show you how that works. Um, my wife, who does not want to go on camera, is extremely skittish, is going to help us. But I'm going to show you the genius of the kukri, okay? And why it's designed partially, at least the way it is, okay? All right, with that said, let me put this here. And honey, if you could just, there you go. All right, now come forward a little bit so your shoulders, can you sit your butt here? Okay, now, I want you to imagine I'm ambushing my wife, okay? If I take something straight, okay, you see what happens with the blade? I have to pull it back, I have to do all this stuff, I have to hack a little bit, I have to cut, okay, even if it's very long, okay? She'll be able to see the blade as it comes, she might be able to respond to that. Let's look at the kukri. You see this part here? Look how it shapes right over her shoulder into the neck. You hack here, boom, you cause trauma right here, possibly even breaking the neck, okay? And all you have to do here, I don't have to maneuver this at all. See look at the angle of the blade, okay? Simply pulling it across, back, it'll cut around, okay? So if I do something, pow, you see how that works so beautifully as an ambush technique, okay? I can hack anything I want here. I can break her collarbone, okay? You break the collarbone, I just have to slide this through into the viscera to come to the arteries, etc., okay? That's why this is designed that way. Thank you, honey.
That's it?
Yeah. I might need you for the tanto. Okay? So, there's a real reason for that. You see how that works? Now, the way it's weighted also is a consideration, okay? But when you use this weapon properly, it's designed exactly for that purpose, to hack, okay, and then to be able to cut through. Now, it doesn't mean you can't hack with this, okay? Other people are you're gonna hear people about, well, you can do this. Yeah, but this weapon is designed, it's got a blood groove so that you have a system for taking fluids away from your hand. It's got a proper angle showing you how those things are supposed to be used. You don't have to try to pull across, change your angle, and you can hack very easily with this, and immediately upon breaking you can follow through with your cut, okay? So that's the kukri. And you see, again, we see this design, machetes use it and stuff, without any idea about why it's that way. I mean, why is this designed this way? Is this a proper way for a machete? This, I think, is, I don't know, I think it's Gerber. But they use it, and then it's nice, but it's not, hacking off limbs is different than hacking trees and plants, okay? There are better machete designs than this, okay? So, again, and the difference is, when you look at something like a kukri, it's not using an agricultural tool. India has an incredible history of weapons and warfare. This was not designed so much necessarily as an all-purpose tool, okay? It can be used as an all-purpose tool. However, it's got very specific understanding in combat, okay? Also, when you see different shapes like this, as we'll see, well, not so much of the kukri, so I'll defer to that. But let's go back while we're on India and Southeast Asia with the kukri. You'll see a lot of times this hook at an angle not only gives you that claw look, but why is a claw such a useful tool in nature to cause trauma, okay, as for protection in animals? Well, the angle of this, okay, if you come up and under, this can catch targets coming up on your body, okay? It can open your throat up, okay? It can open up targets under. It's used this way. A karambit is usually traditionally held this way, although don't let that fool you. You can hold it either way. But you're coming up into those areas, okay, or across, okay? And the shape of that blade allows you that possibility. But again, engineered as such. Now let's look at something like this. This is a knife made in Japan. What's this designed for? It's a cooking knife, okay? This does not really conform in such a way. The most you're going to do is you're going to get this part of the blade on. You're not going to be able to rip through the length of the knife. It doesn't have any particular designs on the angle. Yet, this is also straight. But there's something totally different about this knife. Okay? This is a very simple Tanto. Okay? One of my favorite knives. Probably cost me about $5. It's hardly worth the materials I make it. But it's engineered beautifully. It's hardy. It's a full tank construction. I don't give a shit if it's gonna rust. Okay? I don't care if it's not gonna last me the rest of my life. I don't intend to go out and stab a lot of people and worry about that. This is the bare design of a Tanto, and it's exquisite in how it exposes those features in a very basic way. You will see this design with this tip on swords, on more elaborate Tantos. Okay, this technically could be considered a Tanto because you see how that offsets the tip. That's the key here, is does that offset and create a second cutting surface, okay? This is a little bit more embellished. It's got a little bit of a nice curve to it, okay? But you see the same design feature, that offset cutting surface. And again, nobody talks about this, okay? But it's kind of everything, okay? So, what does that offset do? What is the purpose? Basically, it's giving you two cutting surfaces in a knife without giving you, still keeping only one side, one blade, one side of the weapon sharpened. Don't go for this notion that if a knife has two sharpened sides, it's better or more combat worthy. Not true. It depends on the design for the knife and what you're using it for. But giving you a surface that doesn't have a blade allows you to do things with the weapon that are much more flexible in nature, okay? You can do things like oshigiri, push cut, okay? You can do things like, if you have to hold the weapon against you a certain way and not worry about if it shifts, cutting you up. The real thing that makes this so special a design is how you use this, okay? When you're doing things like coming up, if I had just a normally straight knife, okay, you would see that it doesn't really have any particular conformity to this target. I can kind of rip, but if I'm pushing here and your chin goes down, you know, it's just going to superficially kind of cut in here. You might catch the sublingual artery. You might not, okay? But you don't, it's not designed for that, you know? Now, take this tip. Once you stop this tip, you see what it can do now? It's literally cutting you on a totally separate cutting surface. So if I come in this way and conception vessel, okay, striking down your middle this way, I can catch that and open your throat up, okay? And if I'm coming across, I'm not only cutting with this, but I have, again, that surface area as a secondary. All I have to do is with a little bit of wrist pressure and turning, and now I've secondarily cut your catoroid, okay? More and more you can see how effective this is. It gives you a legitimate second surface for cutting, okay? If somebody stops you here, okay, and you come across here, and they stop this, turn the weapon around, boom. See, you can now have a small second blade. And that is the design of the Tanto. That's one of the things, in my opinion, the main thing that makes it such a special knife, okay? Now, as we get into more elaborate designs for this, you can see that we have a little bit of a curvature here, okay? Which is nice. It gives you a little bit of a surface area, okay? as you're cutting things. But again, in addition to this sharp point, this is offset. Okay? Now, it's interesting because without this knife maker knowing this is not an expensive knife, it's mass produced. They mimic that enough so that you can see that this is offset. So you see how these designs persist? Okay, we're going to go to our final installment now, okay?